Finally, someone who pleases President Trump. Sean Spicer's angry spit wasn't enough, and Kellyanne Conway's fake massacres barely moved Trump's ego from needy to less needy. But in his advisor Stephen Miller, Trump has found the propaganda crack he so desperately needs. It was an avalanche of robotic talking points and lies for Trump policy advisor Stephen Miller this Sunday, solidifying that he is in the right administration for his ethics and integrity. The most accurate thing Miller said was on ABC News this week: "We have a president who has done more in 3 weeks than most presidents have done in an entire administration." Of course that is not accurate, not anywhere near accurate, but we are grading on a curve here, a steep, steep curve. Trump certainly created a lot of chaos in his first 3 weeks, but of note, he has achieved not a single legislative win. Trump is burning his political capital on mismanaged and at times, almost incoherent executive orders. Miller seemed to presume that getting things done is a good thing, that they are being competently done, and that they are wanted changes by a majority of the country. None of these assumptions can be backed up by evidence. Miller, dodging the massive taxpayer bill for Trump's $21.6 billion wall which the president falsely promised Americans would not pay for, skated right on over to suggesting the border wall will pay for itself many, many, many times over. But this claim, like Trump's massive voter fraud claim and the imminent danger from Muslims requiring a ban claim, can't be backed up by evidence. Remember, Trump said to mark his words on the campaign trail as he promised that Mexico would pay, "I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me, and I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words, a great, great wall. Inexpensively Mexico will pay." Now that none of that is happening, we are being promised, sans evidence, that the wall will pay for itself many, many times over. The ever-practical and reasonable President Obama had already directed our limited resources to focusing on getting dangerous criminals deported. Republicans keep telling us how broke we are, but suddenly we are cash flush to pay for a wall that Trump's own Department of Homeland Security chief, John Kelly, said will not work on its own. So that's a no to paying for itself. Miller said he didn't have any information to add when asked about reports that former General Flynn misled Vice President Pence on Flynn's repeated contacts with Russia, during which Flynn worked to undermine President Obama's sanctions that were retaliation for Russia's interference in the U.S. election. He told Chuck Todd on NBC's Meet the Press that the White House did not give me anything to say. Miller dodged questions on the super-important matter of whether or not the president has confidence in his national security advisor, his eyes following the pre-written propaganda on his teleprompter with robotic devotion. When asked about the court's rejection of Trump's Muslim ban, Miller stepped in the rhetorical fool's gold that lines the Trump White House by blustering that the judiciary is not supreme, when it is in fact the Trump White House that doesn't seem to comprehend the way the three branches of government work. Just giving him whatever he asked for. The Trump administration claimed the president's ban was unreviewable. Nothing the president does is unreviewable, and that is the opposite of understanding the checks and balances. It is the same as claiming the executive branch is supreme. So that's a big nope to Miller. CNN's Brian Stelter, quote of the day: Stephen Miller, on at This Week ABC, Sean Spicer, as always, is 100% correct. Sean Spicer claimed his place as liar for the president with his first White House briefing, and cemented it by doubling down on lies to appease Trump's fragile ego. So Spicer is actually, factually, not 100% correct, and certainly not always. Spicer's inaccuracies and false claims have actually rendered the information coming from the briefings to be on par with known propaganda. The briefings, as such, are only good as an opportunity to ask questions that should be asked. The answers are often worthless. It's News Exposed signing off.